You know I like to bring out the receipts here on the Midas Touch Network. You know I like to bring out the evidence to expose these Trump cover-ups, like the one that's unfolding before our eyes where they're trying to cover up the Epstein files, which the Trump regime claimed they were going to release right away. But then they had the right-wing influencers hold up the binder and said, "We got the files." And I said, those weren't the files. That's the call log of Epstein that was released years ago. And by the way, Trump's name was on those. So let me just break down what went down. So last night you had Kash Patel on Fox. Kash Patel is somehow the FBI director right now. His deputy FBI director is Dan Bongino. So Kash Patel goes on Fox last night and he says that, "I promise you that Epstein died by suicide. I promised you that's what went down." And then Kash Patel also said, "I'm not going to let you know when we're going to release the Epstein files. We're working on it. We're working through it." Didn't you previously say, Kash Patel, when you were a right-wing podcaster before becoming the FBI director, that these files could be released right away and that's what you were going to do? Dan Bongino, weren't you out there making all of those statements about Epstein as well? We've got the receipts here on the Midas Touch Network. And like my past job when I was a litigator, I'm going to bring out all of the evidence to all the Midas Touch viewers right now, and I'm going to show how the cover-up is actually playing out. Should we do that together? Let's do that. And by the way, we know that Epstein was one of Donald Trump's best friends in South Florida, right? Ghislaine Maxwell, who was the individual who helped traffic the underage girls from Epstein. She found the underage girls, where a lot of them at Mar-a-Lago, like Virginia Giuffre, who was previously homeless, and she was working at Mar-a-Lago thereafter. She was brought over to Epstein. Epstein trafficked her, and she recently tragically died by suicide in Australia. And our hearts go out to her family. Donald Trump said that Epstein's what do you call him? A great guy. He said he likes women on the younger side. We have all these videos of them partying together. In the Epstein call log that was released, Trump's name is on it. Trump's name are on Epstein deposition transcripts where Epstein would bring girls he trafficked to Atlantic City to Trump properties. Trump's name is on the limited amount of Epstein flight logs that have been released. Trump's name appears at least 7 times. Epstein was on Trump's jet. The connections are significant and over and over and over again. All right, so let's take a look. Here's Kash Patel. You see him right there. Editor-in-Chief Ron Filipkowski calls him Little Kash. There he is on that chair right there. Brett Baer goes and asks Kash Patel, "Hey, so about the Epstein thing, tell us about that." And then here's what Patel says. Play this clip.
There is a lot of conspiracy theories out there.
There are.
The Epstein thing, you dealt with Maria, you said, as far as you know, he killed himself.
I'm telling you, he killed himself.
Now here's FBI Director Kash Patel on the Epstein files. Here's what he says. Play this clip.
The other thing on the internet is the Epstein files. What's the answer to that?
The answer to that is the same as everything else. I'm not going to withhold information from the American public ever, but I'm also not going to rush to get it out there in a format in which they can't rely on it. So on the Epstein matter or any other matters, we are diligently working on that. And it takes time to go through years of investigations, years of political maneuvering, and years of cover-up to get the American people what they deserve. And that's what I'm going to give them on everything.
All right, now let me show you what Kash Patel previously said before becoming the FBI director. Here's what he said to Benny Johnson. Here, play this clip.
So are you, like, in closing here, I want to just be very clear. Republicans could get Epstein's list out now? Like, how would that process work?
Simple. One subpoena to the FBI. Give me the list. Oh, you don't want to give me the list and you're going to break the law and commit contempt of Congress? We're going to take your money. We're going to take Chris Wray's private jet. Taxpayer-funded G5 rides across the country to his Appalachian State vacation home, down to Georgia, and all over the rest of the place. That guy doesn't need a G5 government-funded jet. And the second you take that money, you get Epstein's list.
Here's the problem, Cash, is that they shut down the Lolita Express. So how are these guys going to fly on a private jet anymore? It's really a quandary, my friend.
Oh, man. I love it.
Interesting. And here's what he said on another right-wing podcast. Here, play this clip right here.
I'm not saying it's not there. Who are you going to get
that? For instance, who is currently holding, this is way off the topic, but who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book?
FBI.
But who? There's
that's under direct control of the director of the FBI. Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic school.
Yeah.
We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said, this is not getting out. Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding from the DOJ and FBI for local programs. And if you don't cooperate, you're not getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money to these local districts. That's how they play the game.
Okay, interesting. Now, the deputy FBI director, Dan Bongino, let's take a look at what he's previously said. The first clip I'm going to show you is how you build a right-wing talk show audience. Let's play the clip.
Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on this. Catherine Rumler, we need to keep the heat on this case, folks. There are a lot of people who are knee deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And you should be asking yourself the question, how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it. Outside of a few entrepreneurial media outlets saying, hey, this is a big deal.
And then in this next clip, after becoming FBI director and then covering up for Donald Trump, here's what Dan Bongino has to say. Play this clip.
He killed himself. You want me to get, I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
Now, a lot of the MAGA followers who were promised these Epstein files would be released are making posts like this. It took less than 100 days for Dan Bongino to go soft at the FBI. And they're also calling Kash Patel deep state cash. Here's Dan Bongino as well saying trying to make Epstein connections to like Clinton. Here's Dan Bongino, what he previously said. Here, play this clip.
I'm telling you, there could be some national security problems here. Because, ladies and gentlemen, nobody knows how much material people have on Jeffrey Epstein. Who was videoed where those videos are. I was told by someone a long time ago, a very knowledgeable reporter, and it's not my information. I'm not hiding. I mean, you're hiding up for some foreign government. You're protecting. I'm not protecting anyone. I'm only telling you what I was told. That some governments around the world may have some material that's related to the Epstein thing. Bill Clinton was knee deep in this, man. I have a very, very good source. I've told you this story. Forgive me for repeating it if you're a P1, but some people are new here and never heard this. He was on the plane with Bill Clinton and Epstein on one of Epstein's planes when Bill Clinton was on the plane with some women who, according to my source, looked underage. Why was my source on the plane? Dan, you know people who hung out with Jeffrey Epstein? No, I don't. He was working.
See Dan Bongino's hand right there. I'm Dan Bongino. I'm the deputy FBI director. Now I'm not releasing these files. Let's pull out the evidence. Let's be fact-based here on the Midas Touch Network. So about 2 months ago, maybe a little longer at this point, 3 months ago, Pam Bondi, head of the DOJ, Attorney General, she said that she's got these files on her desk and they are ready to go. Play this clip.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president. Not yet. I was briefed on that yesterday. I can't talk about that publicly, but, you know, President Trump has given a very strong directive, and that's going to be followed.
Wow. Okay. So
a lot of documents.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So people can expect actual movement on this. It's not just empty promises.
Oh, Donald Trump doesn't make empty promises.
Yeah, right.
I think promises made, promises kept.
But, you know, I'll never play Alex Jones clips on this other than for this purpose. What now you have the right-wing influencers and these MAGA people saying, like Alex Jones, is that Pam Bondi and the FBI are covering this all up, that they're covering it up. Here, play this clip.
James O'Keefe's, one of the two big stories he's breaking is about someone in the Trump administration covering up Epstein. And then he put out a little short trailer yesterday that shows an image or still shot of video of Pam Bondi.
Thanks, Ben. A detective to figure out why Donald Trump hasn't released the Epstein files. And again, I'm just going to show you this guy, Tom Fitton, Trump's legal advisor, even though this guy is not a lawyer. This guy, Tom Fitton right here, has made 4, not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 Freedom of Information Act requests to get these files. And he's been rejected at every turn by Trump. Trump's own advisors asking for the files, and Trump's regime is blocking it. Play the clip.
We've asked for these records not once, not twice, but 4 different ways. We still haven't gotten an adequate response or no response virtually. And so now we're in federal court. And the best way, and this is what I would recommend to the Trump administration, and if they're going to be releasing records and being transparent, which as I think they should at least endeavor to release the records through the FOIA process. Doesn't mean you don't widely release them. And I'm not saying don't just get them out. But you have to be aware, to the degree there's litigation or FOIA requests pending, that the way to reassure the public that there is accountability and that there's no material that's been withheld by the deep state is to be in court or use the FOIA law, because that process is put in place.
And you already see Fox going into cover-up mode as well, because they knew this would not be released. Or if it is released, they're trying to cover up for what's going to be on there. So here's what Sean Hannity recently told his audience. This was actually 3 months ago. This is what Sean Hannity told his audience about not to rush to judgment about the names you're going to see on the list. Here, play this clip.
Today, the Attorney General Pam Bondi released phase 1 of the Epstein files. That's transparency. There are a lot of names in there. And Epstein was obviously a star chaser who wanted to hang out with people that are famous, people with money. So let me be very clear at the start here. And I said this on my radio show today. People, because they're in the Rolodex, they're on the list, does not mean they did anything wrong. On this show, and we have done it over and over again, we don't rush to judgment. We believe in the presumption of innocence. And I am appealing to people not to rush to judgment. Even though these names are now public information, there are names that I'm certain were not involved or knowledgeable of this. I could be certain of it.
And so after inviting the right-wing influencers to the White House who all held up those binders and claimed they had the Epstein files several months ago, the new line from the White House is that there's no timeline of when they're going to release it. And let's face it, they're never going to release it. Doe 174 is Donald Trump. You think they're going to release Doe 174's files? Come on. Come on. Here's what Caroline Levitt has to say. Here, play this clip.
My question is about the Epstein files. And a couple months ago, the DOJ released what they called phase 1 of the Epstein files. And they announced that a lot of those files, the remaining files, probably the bulk of the files, are actually in the New York field office. They requested that they be returned the day after. And some legacy media reports show that not only were those files returned to the DOJ, but that hundreds of FBI agents are going through them day after day and getting them ready for public release. Do you have any updates from the DOJ or the FBI on when those files are expected to be released? And also, when we might start seeing some arrests of the client list?
Sure. I can assure you that the Attorney General and her team at the Department of Justice are working on this diligently. For a specific timeline, I'd have to check in with them. And we can certainly do that for you, Rogan, in the effort of transparency. But I will tell you, the Attorney General is a bulldog. She is someone you want on your team. And when she wants to get something done, she gets it done. I've seen her do it in various instances already in her time as Attorney General. And when she makes a promise, she keeps it. So I think I don't have a specific timeline on you for that, but I do know that they're working on it over there.
And so recently I had Democratic Congress member Dan Goldman on the Midas Touch Network when he announced that he was demanding that Pam Bondi release these files. And if she's having her team go through it to redact or cover up Donald Trump's name, he wants to know every redaction, everything that's going on right now to try to cover up Trump's involvement in all of this. Here, play the clip.
And so there was a mad dash and a big rush to release everything, and everyone was talking about it. And now there's radio silence. And begs the question, why has the Attorney General gone dark on this? Why has Congresswoman Luna and others stopped calling for it? What is it that's in the Epstein files that they were so eager to have that now are just not being released according to the Attorney General's promises of transparency, but are still there? And there's no explanation. And the concern I have, of course, is we know Donald Trump had a friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. We know Jeffrey Epstein had numerous numbers for Donald Trump. And the question then is, was this some sort of directive from Donald Trump or someone on his staff or an agent of his to the Attorney General to kill this? And that would be yet another pretty egregious act of corruption using his position as president for his own personal benefit. It is incumbent upon the Republicans currently in the majority to do their damn job, and conduct oversight over the president of the United States. Stop sucking up to him.
So folks, just focus on the evidence that we have already from the Epstein files that have been released previously before Trump. Trump's name is on the depositions. Trump's name is on the flight log. Epstein was on Trump's plane. Trump's repeatedly mentioned over him. He wished Ghislaine Maxwell well. Someone at Ghislaine Maxwell's trial said when she was 14, she was introduced to Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. What do you think is happening? We know, if I were the lawyer on this case, I would know exactly how to do my document request. All files related to Doe 174. I want all the grand jury testimony, all testimony relating to the Jane Doe at Ghislaine Maxwell sex trafficking trial that mentioned Donald Trump. I want to see all of that. Any mention, any reference to Donald Trump in there. And look, while I vehemently disagree with Trump's legal advisor, Tom Fitton, who's not a lawyer on every issue, this is what they promised. This is what Freedom of Information Act requests are for. Release the files. Release them. I'm Ben Meiselas from the Midas Touch Network. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
Can't get enough Midas? Check out the Midas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MidasPlus.com.
Resources here. Resources here. Slide station here. Thanks. Ugh. Help me! I need blue wall. Head there. Help me! Help me!
First doom.
Help me! Help me! Help me!
Double takedown. Double takedown.